Silence. A room at 3 a.m. The kind of silence that isn't peaceful. It's heavy. You're awake. Not because you want to be, but because something inside you won't let you rest. The thought, the feeling, presence. It has no shape, no voice, no name, but it's there. Always there. There's a fear that most people carry but never talk about. Not the fear of dying. Not the fear of failure. The quieter one. The one that sits in your chest when nothing is wrong. The one that whispers in the silence. The one that makes you check your phone at midnight looking for proof that you're okay. This fear doesn't announce itself. It just follows. Everywhere you go. If something in your chest just tightened, stay. Because what you're about to hear might finally name what you've been feeling for years. And before we begin, subscribe. Not because I ask, but because understanding this changes everything. Let me show you something. Think about the last time you felt completely calm. Not distracted. Not numb. Actually calm. Can you remember? Most people can't. Because calm isn't your default anymore. Anticipation is. You're not living in the present. You're living in the next problem that hasn't happened yet. That's what this fear does. It steals your now. She's 7 years old. Sitting at the kitchen table. Homework spread out in front of her. Her mother is in the next room. On the phone. Voice rising. The girl can't hear the words. But she can hear the tone. Tight. Sharp. About to break. Her stomach knots. She doesn't know why. She doesn't know what's wrong. But something inside her body already knows. When adults are upset, children aren't safe. So she becomes small. Quiet. Still. She finishes her homework without asking for help. She goes to bed without saying goodnight. She learns that the best way to survive uncertainty is to disappear. And in that moment, in that tiny, unremarkable moment, her nervous system learns something dangerous. The world is unpredictable, and you must always be ready. What just happened to that child isn't unique. It happens to millions of people. Psychologists call it hypervigilance, when your nervous system gets stuck in threat detection mode. Here's how it works in the brain. Your amygdala, the fear center, is designed to scan for danger. In a healthy nervous system, it activates when there's real threat. Then it calms down. But in a hypervigilant nervous system, it never calms down. It scans constantly, predicts constantly, prepares for disaster constantly, even when you're safe, even when nothing is wrong. This isn't anxiety. This is your body trying to protect you from a danger that ended years ago. But your nervous system doesn't know that. It's still running the same program, still scanning, still waiting for the next thing to go wrong. Now here's what most people don't realize. This fear is not just in your head. It's in your body. Let me show you where. He's 29, sitting in a meeting at work. The conversation is normal. No conflict, no crisis, but his jaw is clenched. His shoulders are tight. His breath is shallow. He doesn't notice. This is just how his body exists now. Tense, braced, ready. Later, he's at dinner with friends, laughing, talking, but his phone is face up on the table. He checks it every 3 minutes. Not because he's expecting a message, but because not checking feels dangerous. Like he's missing something. Like something could go wrong and he wouldn't know. At night, he lies in bed, exhausted, but his mind won't stop. It replays the day. Every conversation. Every interaction. Did he say the wrong thing? Did someone seem upset? Is something about to fall apart? He doesn't sleep until 2 a.m. And even then, he doesn't rest. Because the fear is still there. In his dreams. In his body. In the space between thoughts. Following him. Everywhere. What you just saw isn't paranoia. It's anticipatory anxiety. A state where your brain is always preparing for the next threat. And here's the neurological reality. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for rational thinking, is supposed to regulate the amygdala. It's supposed to say, we're safe. There's no danger here. But when you've lived with chronic stress or unpredictability, the prefrontal cortex loses that power. The amygdala takes over. And once it takes over, everything becomes a potential threat. A text that takes too long to be answered. A shift in someone's tone of voice. A day that feels too quiet. Your brain interprets calm as the moment before disaster. Because in your past, that's what calm was. The silence before the storm. So now your body won't let you relax. Not because you're broken, but because relaxing once felt dangerous. And your nervous system remembers. Pause for a second. If any of this is landing, if you're recognizing yourself in these patterns, you're not imagining it. You're not overreacting. Your body is doing exactly what it was trained to do. And what comes next will help you understand why it's so hard to stop. Stay with me. She's in love. Or at least she thinks she is. But every time things feel good, something inside her tightens. He says, I love you. And instead of feeling safe, she feels afraid. Because love, to her, has always been temporary. People leave. People change. People hurt you when you least expect it. So she starts testing him. Not consciously, not cruelly, but she pulls back slightly to see if he chases. She creates small distances to see if he notices. She waits for him to prove over and over that he won't leave. And when he gets frustrated, she thinks, see, I knew it. But the truth is different. She's not afraid of him leaving. She's afraid of the moment right before he leaves. The moment when everything seems fine. And then it's not. That's the moment her body is always preparing for. The unpredictable shift. The rug being pulled. The proof that safety was always an illusion. So she never fully relaxes. She never fully trusts. Not because she doesn't want to, but because her nervous system won't let her. What you're seeing here is something psychologists call attachment trauma. When you grow up in an environment where safety is inconsistent, where love is conditional or unpredictable, your brain learns. Closeness is dangerous. So as an adult, you crave connection. But you also fear it. You want someone to stay, but you expect them to leave. This creates a pattern called anxious attachment, where you're constantly scanning your relationships for signs of abandonment. A delayed text, a change in tone, a moment of distance. Your brain interprets these as proof that the end is coming. So you react. You pull away first. You create the distance you're afraid of. You sabotage the very thing you want. Not because you're self-destructive, but because your nervous system is trying to protect you from the pain of being caught off guard. If you leave first, it hurts less. If you stay distant, you can't be abandoned. That's the logic of fear, and it makes perfect sense. Until you realize, you're not protecting yourself from pain. You're creating it. Now let me show you the most important part. The part that changes everything. Because this fear, it's not just affecting your relationships. It's affecting how you see yourself. He avoids mirrors. Not because he hates how he looks, but because looking at himself feels like proof. Proof that he's not enough. That he's falling behind. That everyone else has it figured out and he's still lost. He scrolls through social media, sees people traveling, getting promotions, getting engaged, and he thinks, I'm running out of time. But the truth is, he's not afraid of running out of time. He's afraid of being seen as someone who wasted it. He's afraid that when people look at him, they'll see someone who didn't try hard enough, someone who isn't successful enough, someone who isn't worth knowing. So he hides. He cancels plans. He avoids new opportunities. He stays in jobs he hates because leaving feels like admitting failure. He doesn't post about his life because his life doesn't feel worth posting. And every day, the gap between who he is and who he thinks he should be gets wider. Until he's not just afraid of being judged by others. He's afraid of being seen at all. This is what fear does when it goes unchecked. It doesn't just make you anxious about external things. It rewrites your identity. Psychologists call this internalized shame. When you don't just feel like you're not enough, you become convinced that not enough is who you are. And once that belief takes root, it creates a cycle. You avoid situations where you might be judged. By avoiding, you don't grow. By not growing, you feel more behind. By feeling more behind, you avoid even more. The fear that was supposed to protect you becomes the thing that traps you. But here's what's crucial to understand. This isn't a personality flaw. This is a survival mechanism that outlived its purpose. Your brain created this fear to keep you safe. But the danger it's protecting you from is not real anymore. The unpredictable parent isn't in the room. The childhood chaos isn't happening. The rejection you're bracing for isn't coming. But your nervous system doesn't know that. It's still running the old program. Still scanning. Still predicting. Still preparing for a threat that ended years ago. So now the question becomes, how do you stop? How do you turn off a system that's been running your entire life? The answer isn't what you think. She's sitting on her bathroom floor. It's late. The house is quiet. She's been crying. Not dramatically, just quietly releasing something she's held for too long. And in that silence, something shifts. Not a revelation. Not a solution. Just a realization. She's tired. Tired of scanning every room for danger. Tired of predicting every disaster. Tired of bracing for pain that hasn't happened yet. She looks at herself in the mirror. And for the first time in years, she doesn't see someone failing. She sees someone surviving. Someone who's been carrying an invisible weight that no one ever acknowledged. And she whispers to herself, what if I stopped fighting this? What if I just let it be here? Not forever. Not as her identity. Just for now. She doesn't try to fix it. She doesn't try to think her way out. She just sits. With the fear. With the exhaustion. With the truth that she's been running for so long. And in that moment, the fear doesn't disappear. But it softens. Just a little. Because for the first time, she's not running from it. What she just experienced is what trauma therapists call titration, the practice of sitting with discomfort in small, manageable doses. Here's why this matters. You can't think your way out of a nervous system pattern. You have to feel your way through it. Your brain needs new evidence. Evidence that you can feel fear without being destroyed by it. Evidence that you can sit in uncertainty without collapsing. Evidence that the thing you've been running from isn't as dangerous as your body believes. This isn't about facing your fears in some dramatic way. It's about learning to coexist with them. To stop seeing fear as the enemy and start seeing it as outdated protection. Your fear isn't trying to ruin your life. It's trying to save it. It just doesn't realize the danger is gone. So the work isn't to eliminate fear. It's to teach your nervous system, we're safe now, not through words, but through experience. Small moments of sitting with discomfort and surviving it. Small moments of uncertainty without disaster. Small moments of presence instead of prediction. That's how you rewire a nervous system. Not all at once, but slowly, gently, one breath at a time. The fear that follows you everywhere is not your enemy. It's the part of you that never learned it was allowed to rest. It's the child who had to stay alert to stay safe. It's the teenager who learned that relaxing meant getting hurt. It's the adult who's still waiting for permission to stop running. And here's the permission you've been waiting for. You're allowed to stop. You're allowed to let your guard down. Not all at once. Not perfectly. But slowly. In small moments. When you wake up in the morning and your first thought is dread, you can pause. You can breathe. You can remind yourself, I'm here. I'm safe. Nothing is wrong right now. When you're in a relationship and you want to pull away, you can stay. You can sit with the discomfort. You can let someone see you without running. When you look in the mirror and see someone who's behind, you can choose differently. You can see someone who's surviving. Because that's what you've been doing all along. Surviving. And survival is exhausting. But you don't have to survive anymore. You can start living. not by eliminating fear, but by refusing to let it lead. If any part of this resonated, if you saw yourself in these patterns, subscribe, because this channel is dedicated to understanding the psychology behind the things we carry but never name. Every week, a new pattern, a new story, a new layer of what it means to be human. You're not broken. You're not overreacting. Your body is doing exactly what it was trained to do. And now that you understand it, you can start to change it, not by force, but by compassion, one moment at a time. You're not alone in this, and you never were.